It has officially been a week since I arrived in Bali, and it's been a very peaceful and lovely experience solo traveling here, but definitely not without its trials and tribulations and painful moments of growth, all of which I'd like to share in this video.
Take me in your arms, guide me through this storm, feel your hand in mine,
So I left early in the morning on Wednesday, November 3rd, taking the MRT with my luggage to the Changi airport. It was about an hour and a half MRT ride, and then from there I took off to Bali. I felt a mixture of nervous anticipation and excitement, as well as a weird numb and confused feeling that this was actually happening. That's because this was my first big trip planned entirely by myself, relying only on myself. On other trips, I had my friends in the same country, which kind of gave me an added layer of security to go explore on my own, but this time it was really just me. So the first day that I arrived there, I was still fairly anxious and on edge. My mind was foggy, my body was stiff, and I couldn't really let myself relax. I had a hard time finding the Airbnb since it was on top of this big hill, but after a bit of searching, I found it luckily. The place was quite spacious, but that also made it feel really scary. It quickly started raining, and I waited for a bit before it stopped and took the opportunity to go get some dinner. Dinner was pretty good. I ordered quite a lot because I was pretty hungry. I also got dessert, which I didn't take a picture or video of. And there was just that cat chilling and roaming around. The walk back was kind of scary, but I made it back safely, thankfully. But even then, the first night was really quite scary. The place is old and the soundproofing is not good, so you can hear a lot of noise from other neighbors, lots of bug sounds and animals, which could be relaxing, but just being used to living in the city, I was a little concerned. And there was also a lizard in my room, which did not make it better. And the bed smelled like a man's pit sweat. I kid you not, I don't think they washed that bedding. And I was so freaked out by the smell of a man's sweat on the bed. It made me really question my safety, but I just did my best to ignore it and went to bed. Thankfully, when I woke up the next morning, the sun was out and it wasn't raining. The daylight really helped how I was feeling. They also left a bottle of hot water outside. What's this? The people were super kind and served me breakfast. Just some fruit.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Nice to meet you. Do I go over there? It was a total sigh of relief that my fears were something I didn't really need to worry about anymore.
So it is my first day here. I look kind of cracked out, but it's kind of scary sleeping at night. All the sounds are very clear. It made me feel kind of scared because I'm alone. Just a few more days and I think I'll get used to it. Today I'm going to a cafe and then I'm going to try to head to one of the bookstores. It was actually recommended by Moya, who was just in Bali recently. I really like her videos. Yeah, it was so cool that she also came to Bali alone. She recommended this bookstore that you can't really remember, but something with like a return policy or something. I don't feel that well because I was sick right before this trip. I had like a fever and nausea, but I feel slightly better now. I still feel nauseous.
There's valleys and mountain tops on this rocky road. All I'm asking now, don't give up. for richer, for poor. I meant every word that I told you before. All I'm asking now, don't give up on love. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give
I spent most of the day at this cafe just working on my paper, cause yes, I am still in school. Then the rain started coming down lightly at first, but I didn't think much of it. But then it really started storming, so I just went to go buy a pair of flip-flops so that my shoes wouldn't get soaked. I managed to get home, but I lost a flip-flop in the flood. That one part that just like collects a whole bunch of water, which went almost up to my knee. And I walked barefoot halfway, trying not to like on anything sharp or get struck by lightning, because that was freaking me out. I'm definitely not used to storms like this. But then things only got worse from there. My stomach was cramping really badly and I had pretty intense pain after eating my meal, but I thought it was just IBS or something. But when I got home, it got really bad. My stomach was making like insanely loud, monstrous sounds. It literally sounded like there was a demon screaming inside my tummy.
I literally died last night. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it easy by the pool today. But Jesus Christ. Last night I was shitting myself non-stop and it was like straight liquid. Like straight liquid. It was just not fun.
Not gonna lie, I was actually fearing for my life because I could barely hold any water down. Every time I drank water, I would need to go to the toilet. And my mind was just like, oh my god, what if I ate a rare species of E. coli?
I was so dehydrated this morning that I felt so weak. I was trying to get to town to get some snacks and water and like electrolyte, but I almost passed out. I was just like, no, and I was gonna shit myself too, so then I just came back.
Luckily, the staff brought me breakfast and anti-diarrhea pills. I drank as much warm water as I could, which felt like a warm hug for my tummy. Then I knocked out until mid-afternoon, which seriously saved me because I had not been able to sleep the previous night just because of the leaking issues.
The owner was like, you should go in the water, and I was like, but I don't want to contaminate it because I have like bowel issues, right? But he's like, yeah, it's okay, it shouldn't matter, so I guess it's fine. He's like, go in the water, it'll make you healthy. And I was like, okay, yeah.
The funny thing about fear is that 9 times out of 10 you realize they never come true. You realize that the more you fear, the less life you get to live. And fears are often rooted in the extreme cases that stick in your mind, thinking of the worst possible outcome. While it's good to be cautious, an overindulgence in fear is partly delusion. And time spent in fear is really just time stolen from life.
Look at the rice paddies. The rice paddies. So green. Hey.
My symptoms progressively got lighter each day, and by the third day, I was ready and feeling a bit risky, so I stayed out past sunset, which I hadn't done the previous days. My mom had warned me it was really dangerous and pleaded me to stay in, but I decided I wanted to go out because I wanted to see the city at night and maybe try going to a bar or a restaurant by myself, and so that's what I did. I felt a little nervous at first. The fear before entering is always the greatest, right? The fear before starting anything is always the hardest, but you know, damn, that was cheesy. But I decided it was now or never to get over it, and when I went in and sat down, it wasn't actually that bad. See, the thing about fear is that it grips you and makes you do anything to avoid taking action. It tells you not to go on that trip, not to post that video, not to do the things you want to do for fear of what other people will think, and that you're better off not knowing what it feels like to get to the other side. But once you enter that door, you never have to look back because the fear will never be as great as the first time. You learn something from entering that door that you would have never known if you just listened to fear. And you'll always have that experience of conquering a fear to remind you that you can do it again. It's also a matter of repetition as well. Each time I walk into a cafe, restaurant, or even bar alone, I feel less and less afraid to do so. I guess it's a bit of exposure therapy plus a knowing that I'll be fine even if I go alone and that no one will actually care or ultimately remember who I am. It's literally one moment in a lifetime that when you zoom all the way out, it seems like a speck in the oblivion. And what you learn from conquering each fear will be different every time, but you realize most of the time it's not so bad and that you're much more resilient than you thought. And when you use fear as a guide on how to take action, it really teaches you things about yourself and brings you closer to the person you want to become. And that's why I think everyone should experience solo traveling at least once in their 20s or 30s, because the sense of self and confidence you experience from going out into the world alone is really rewarding.